What is going on, everyone? Welcome back into another live edition of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Network, presented by our wonderful friends over at Prize Picks and Raycon. It's Brian Hines. Back as always with Alex Barth ahead of Week 7, Patriots-Titans. Barth, Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee. If you hear from him, though, anything he has to say to us, at least during the week, doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I would imagine he's pretty fired up, and I would imagine the players themselves are pretty fired up to go back to Tennessee and get a win for Mike Vrabel and a lot of other former Titans on this Patriots team right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the story for this week for sure, and you're right. They've downplayed it, and I liked what they've said about it, kind of like last week with the trap game, but I think there's a little more, and you hear people in Tennessee talk about it and the way things maybe ended with Vrabel and ownership weren't on the best terms. I'm sure he'd love to stick it to him, but you know, the way to do that isn't to lose sight of the game and come out and be flat.
Yeah. You got to win, right? You got to win and stick it to them. And if you want to run up the score, you have to be up in the game. So you have to come out. You know, we've talked about slow start specifically on the defense side of the ball. So you got to come out, stick to the focus. And they've talked about that. You said the messaging in the building, even Stephon Diggs, you know, first place in the AFC East, right? Stephon Diggs said, you know, we're not drinking that Kool-Aid, you know, we're going to stick to the process and keep working. So the messaging, again, seems to be on a good point throughout the building. The other kind of interesting part of this, Mike Vrabel's successor, Brian Callahan, Tennessee Titans head coach, fired early in this week. They turn it over to senior offensive analyst, I think was his title, Mike McCoy, who was a head coach with the Chargers a while back.
He's the old guy you hire when you don't know if you're going to keep your coach through the year, so you have somebody to take over as the interim coach.
So I know like the head, you know, the interim coach bump is a thing. And if you look at the record, especially over the last 10, 15 years, you know, there isn't much of a statistical, you know, factual thing behind it. It's pretty much even 500 record. But there's enough wins there that I think, you know, you definitely see some teams get a bump. So are you worried at all about the mystery of Mike McCoy, what he could be installing in this new head coach bump? Are you a believer in the interim head coach bump?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of, you know, it's a wake up call for the roster and guys are going to, you know, keep their, you know, be on their P's and Q's this week. But this is a rookie quarterback. You're probably going to have two rookie receivers and a second year receiver because Calvin Ridley hasn't practiced yet this week. Line's a little bit older, but you really want to throw a whole new offense at such a young group of players. How's that going to go? So I'm sure there'll be new wrinkles here or there, but I don't think you're going to see anything. I don't think they're going to reinvent the wheel in a week in terms of their core offense.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. So, but I guess we'll start there with kind of this Titans offense, first Patriots defense. Yeah. What are you thinking of Cam Ward early on? I mean, does it remind you a little bit of Drake? And
yes, it's funny. I just said that to somebody.
I was much higher on Drake in the draft last year than Cam Ward this year. I think you were probably in that same bucket, but does the situation of what's going on, and, you know, Drake didn't have a head coach fired early in his career, but the situation around a young quarterback, does it bring some similarities for you?
It definitely does, because you see those flashes, but I think there's a lot of he's struggling with what he's being given right now. And I don't think this is a truly fair encapsulation of the player that Cam Ward is. I think there's more to what he can do than what he's doing right now, but I don't know that he has the opportunities to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough supporting cast, right? And even Calvin Ridley, his top wide receiver right now, like he hasn't practiced all week, so they're probably going to be down him with a hamstring injury to make issues even harder. The offensive line, which Drake obviously dealt with a bad offensive line last year. Their offensive line, even though they invested, you know, J.C. Latham was a top 10 pick 2 years ago. They paid Dan Moore, a tackle we talked a lot about in free agency, maybe for the Patriots as a backup plan. Hasn't worked very well. Maybe the Patriots dodged a bullet on that one. So if you're Zach Core still calling defense in this Patriots defense, how are you kind of coming at these guys and attacking Cam Ward this weekend?
So, I mean, I think you're probably going to blitz him a little bit. He's a young cornerback. We know they like those corner blitzes. But to me, the thing is, and I talked about this a little bit on Catch 22, I don't know that we have like a definitive look at what this defense wants to be. And there's an element of they're going to be a game plan defense. I think that's clear. But overall defense philosophy, and Brian, you stop me at any point if you think this is unfair, because I'm going to chop a lot here.
Got you.
Take out the first 3 games. They didn't have Christian Gonzalez. That's just a different. They had 2 different play callers. So like that's just a different. That's something else. I don't know how much that informs us of what they want to be big picture. Week 4, you get Gonzalez back, but that thing was a blowout pretty quickly. They played a lot of it in garbage time. I don't know how deep they were going in the bag. I don't know how useful that game is to determining anything. Then you get to the Buffalo game. Legit. Close game against a good team, and they're playing press. They're playing man. They're playing aggressive. Like, okay, that's what we thought this was going to be. Then they play the Saints the next week. Polar opposite. A lot of zone. They're playing off. Kind of bend, don't break. So in my mind, the only 2 games we have to really identify this defense are the Buffalo game and the Saints game. They look nothing like each other. And even being a game plan defense, you're usually not going to have that much variance one week to another. You have to be such a high-level team to be able to pull that off. I mean, those are 2 completely different game plans. So does this game serve as the tiebreaker? I think this is the kind of game where when you look at what the Titans are bringing to the table, even for a game plan team, this kind of feels like, hey, let's just line up and do what we do and play to our strengths, and we'll do what we need to do. So I feel like this game will be pretty informative of what they want to be defensively. What does it look like to me in the pass game? Again, you got 2 rookies out there. You're probably going to have Marcus Jones on Tyler Lockett in the slot. And, crafty veteran, but he's not what he was. I like that matchup for the Patriots. You have your all-pro cornerback in Christian Gonzalez and another high-level corner in Carlton Davis on the other side against 2 rookies in Chim DK and Elik Ayomanor. That should be definitive win Patriots. To me, getting a man coverage and tell those 2 rookies, you got to beat these 2 guys one-on-one for 60 minutes. And I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. Chigaquanquo at tight end is a fine player, and I do worry about them against tight ends. Nothing's changed in that department. If anybody's going to have like a surprise breakout game, I would say it's him. But I feel like across the board, the Patriots should be able to just do what they do, which I feel like is great because we don't necessarily know what do what they do looks like yet. 7 weeks into the season, which is kind of nuts. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just as an evaluator of the team, it's not often you're at this point.
Yeah. And so if you look at the Bills and the Saints game, if those are the 2 you're picking from, do you lean one of those 2 directions? Be like, okay, this is what I would prefer them do. Like, because I'm more on, like, I saw that Bills game plan.
Yeah.
You finally have Christian Gonzalez. It's not a blowout. It's a competitive game. And you're like, all right, like we even talked that week, like, let's bring the fight to them. Let's play a lot of man coverage. They did that. The Kincaid beat them, and that's where the kind of the tight end worries with your safeties and man coverage. But you played a lot of man coverage, and it worked. And then, and Christian Gonzalez was limited the next week, but it sounds like he still participated in like the high speed areas of practice. And then they come out in a lot of zone. Like, okay, that was kind of a, different path. So I like the man path because, again, you have Christian Gonzalez and you have Carlton Davis, but do you maybe lean the zone path, or do you like, let's lean into this man, and then especially this week when you have such a talent mismatch in the secondary?
I mean, the Bills game is definitely more of what I thought they were going to be. That's kind of how I thought they would play it. It's a good point about the Saints. Gonzalez maybe a little banged up. Milton Williams was sick. I would not discount that element of it. Because he didn't look like himself. He was fine, but he's been so good to start the year. Like, it was clear that he was sick. So the Bills game is what I want them to be. If the Saints game is what they have to be, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But to have this much talent and give at corner and give like 8-yard cushions, do I think they can win that way against most of their schedule? Yes. I think you're leaving opportunities on the table, and you're probably making games closer than they need to be. Let these corners ball hawk, try to get opportunities in man coverage for the pass rush, buy them an extra half a second or a second, something like that. I think they have the talent for it. It's obviously more risky to play that way, but when you're a good team, that's how you should be playing. And I do think they have a ton of talent on defense at all 3 levels.
Yeah. Because by the numbers, the pass defense has not been very impressive to start the year. And as we said, there's a lot of factors that go into that, not having Christian Gonzalez. But and first and second down, Zach Core pointed out today, and I'll trust him. I think he's given us right numbers that they're really good on like 3rd and 4+ pass, and then they're not very good on first and second down. So maybe that's some of that off coverage, and you're dropping back and then kind of dinking and dunking on the early downs and putting them in good positions. the offense. So yeah, I'm with you. Kind of play some man, let those corners go to work, and go from there. So I think that's a good matchup against, again, offense that doesn't have much talent, and they're already down Calvin Ridley now, most likely. And then up front, like, get after Cam Ward, pressure him, and stop the run. And I like Tony Pollard. I like Tajay Spears. Those are two good backs, but that should be your focus. And this has been a pretty dominant Patriots run defense. Like, take those guys out, heat up Cam Ward, and I think that's kind of the good game plan there on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tony Pollard, I didn't talk at all about the run game. I mean, it's just, like, again, if they're running the ball 30 times with Tony Pollard, you've probably already won the game, even if he's running the ball well, I would say.
Which was what happened last year. Wasn't that one of their, like, 10-play drives where it was that, and then the London game where they just had, like, 12-play drives that were all runs?
Well, you got a better front now, so.
Yeah, 100%. This is a much better run defense, so you shouldn't get ran down like that. But that's Cam Ward. That's Titans offense. Anything else Patriots defense you're looking for? We'll jump over to the offense here.
Just it's gonna suck if Landry can't play in this game.
Yeah,
hasn't practiced either the last 2 days. That's usually a sign player's not going to go. So sucks he doesn't get his Tennessee homecoming. But Anthony Jennings returned to practice today, but he's still banged up. I think Chason is off the injury report, right? So that's encouraging, but he was dealing with something.
Keon's been practicing.
Yeah, Keon was back at practice, but he's still on there. So, like, they're thin, man. They're thin. And do we get an extended look at Elijah Ponder or Truman Jones or just Braden Swinson get the nod this week or somebody like that? If you want to kind of give one of those guys a shot against, I don't think they're going to take it light on the Titans by any means, but, like, they don't have great tackles. If you want to give one of those guys a shot, you're banged up, it's a lesser opponent, this would kind of be the week to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, they should absolutely be able to get home against these tackles, and then we know what the interior guys can do. So we'll see on the edge. Is that a trade spot that you're maybe looking at? We'll get more trade talk, as we get closer to the deadline. But I think edge, you're really thin there, especially now you're down a guy.
Even if you can get a complimentary edge rusher, I don't know that they, need to go out and get Trey Hendrickson. It'd be great, but just a Joshua Uche type.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's not, I don't think the Eagles would trade him, but that guy he's going to play off of Landry and, give you just another guy that you can put out there and you feel good about. Maybe he's in a star, but will, with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore taking up blocks, can win his one-on-ones.
Definitely. Eagles just had that guy retire, so don't think Joshua Uche is going to be available there. But
it's a good point.
I think definitely the edge is sneaky, like, depth spot that I'm looking at maybe on the trade deadline here. But let's jump over to the offensive side of the football and Drake May. But before we do that, we, of course, have to hear from our friends over at Prize Picks. And Barth, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right and simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. We got some Thursday night football tonight. Steelers Bengals in the AFC North. Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco. It's the unction, as we're calling it. So if you want to put one of those guys in your lineup, or of course we'll give you our Patriots lineup for this Sunday if you just want to play along with Drake May, Trayvon Henderson, Stephon Diggs, plenty of other options. We'll go through our lineup again there tonight. And Prize Picks also offers injury reboots, which could be important with these 2 old quarterbacks. If you're playing Thursday night, Prize Picks tonight, and if one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, all over on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. All right, Patriots offense. Barth, how the hell, if at all, can you slow down Jeffrey Simmons there on the Titans defensive line?
Keep it away from him. That simple. Don't run at him. You're going to roll the pocket, roll away from him. I would think they're going to put him and try to hunt Jared Wilson in that matchup, get him on the rookie, send double teams his way, send help his way. The nice thing is the rest of their front doesn't leave a lot to be desired. So you kind of have the resources to put more into him, but he's one of the best players in the league. It was funny. When I was on with Andrews on Monday, we were talking about, I'm like kind of transition Titans. I said, I want to start with a guy that I think is underrated, Jeffrey Simmons. And he kind of shut up. He said, that guy's underrated? And I was like, I mean, I think around the league he is. He goes, I never underrated that guy. Like, that guy's a problem. So I think players around the league know how good he is. He's spent a lot of his career on bad teams.
It's the Titans effect. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I think, nationally he's underrated. This guy's right up there with the best of them. And he's a dog, man. It's every play. Vrabel talked about that this week. Josh McDaniels talked about this week. He doesn't take plays off. 87% usage rate for defensive tackle is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
You try to keep it away from him, and even then, you still got to worry about him because he's a hell of a player. So part of that is establishing the run to not his spot, but it makes him be disciplined when it comes to his rush lanes. And, it takes maybe half a second or quarter of a second off his pass rush, which can make a difference.
Yeah, so he's a monster. He leads all defensive tackles this year with pressures. He can win.
Yeah. And he's second in run stops. So it's every situation.
Absolute game wrecker. I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if he lines up over Jared Wilson a lot, who has kind of struggled, with power. He's a smaller guard. He is a center type. So, Jeffrey Simmons can go right through a guy like that. So I wouldn't be surprised. And Garrett Bradbury, who has been you look at the numbers, he's been good in pass pro, but he hasn't really been tested a lot by a true game wrecker. And this is what Jeffrey Simmons is. So you put Jeffrey Simmons over either of those two guys, and he can kind of wreak havoc there in the middle against, a smaller New England interior front. So definitely have to take care of him. Yep. You mentioned running the football to make him a little bit more disciplined. That's obviously been a big struggle for this Patriots offense. Are you any more confident that they can maybe get that run game going a little bit? Have you found any way to unlock this run game since we last talked Monday about the struggles there? Because it still just seems like they just execution based. But anything with this run game, do you have any hope that they can maybe get this going against Tennessee?
Man, I hate to keep saying this. I think at a certain point, guys just need to play better. That's part of it. I also think part of it is teams are still not respecting Drake May. And they're still playing single high. They're still loading the box. That has to change eventually, right? It should have changed by now. And look, by all means, keep playing single high against Drake May and let him win MVP. But I love it.
Tennessee does play a lot of two high safeties, cover 2, cover 4, quarters, that type of stuff. So,
at that point, I don't think it's a guarantee that just outright fixes the run game, but that should help. You have to think that's going to help. So hopefully at a certain point, teams start respecting the pass a little more, and that opens up the run game. And, I do wonder, Matt Dolph brought this up on our Patriots Hub podcast, which you can check out on the Sports Hub YouTube page. With TreVeyon Henderson, I thought TreVeyon Henderson took a little step forward last week in his patience. Still a long way to go, but it felt a little better. But Matt said, with TreVeyon Henderson, is it just if he gets the one, and at this point, is it just he needs the one to kind of break the mental block or whatever it is, and he'll be, no pun intended, off and running. And then with Stevenson, it's the ball security. But we know that these backs, and to an extent the linemen as well, we know they can do what they need to do at a higher level than what they're doing it at right now. They're just not. And it's simplistic, and that's not what we do on this show, but sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. I think it's just a matter of waiting till it clicks, and then when it clicks, things will be better, and it will probably help when they get some lighter boxes and there's more room to run the football.
So it's funny, they have statistically been one of the worst rushing attacks into lighter boxes as well, but you have to figure if they get more lighter boxes, it can't.
Right, there's a sample size.
More lighter boxes.
I'll say this too. Been bad against it. It feels like a fork in the road because the run game hadn't been bad before last week. It just had not been good. And so is it actively getting worse because they're in their own heads, or was last week an outlier? They can't take another step back this week. That's the last thing that can happen, even with Jeffrey Simmons on the other side. You got to at least get back to where you were before, where you're not losing yards. And then you go from there.
Yeah, you can't have 8 or 9 runs go for 0 or negative yards. That is where things are a real disaster. At least before, they were getting 3 or 4 at minimum, still being able to set up play action passes and stay ahead of the chains at some point. You can't keep going backwards. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, where there's this big stuff rate and they can get some positive momentum going forward there. But it does just feel like everyone just execution based. Everyone has to be a little better in the run game. And now I see people throwing all these names in the chat for trades. Like they do need you can't go through.
They need a body
with two backs. Like, and I agree. Like Stevenson looks like he's holding on the football. Henderson, I do think, to Matt's point, maybe if he just pops one. And Tony Dews was speaking. It was kind of a good reminder today. Like we're only 6 games in. It's a big jump even from preseason to the regular season for rookies. Like let's just stay a little patient with Travion there. He's progressing really well. I think he said he was progressing, better than any rookie he's ever had, Tony Dews. So, but they do need another body. And if it's not Terrell Jennings, if they don't believe in Terrell Jennings, this does feel like an area they might make a trade. Someone said Alvin Kamara in the chat. He just said about 2 hours ago, if they trade him, he's just going to go sip pina coladas on a beach. So it doesn't sound like Alvin Kamara wants to get traded. Breece Hall was another one that's been
I still don't see the Jets doing
in
that.
division. Yeah, he is in a contract year, but I don't know. I'm still more of like a Jerome Ford is the guy I've been looking at a lot, or Damian Pierce maybe in Houston is kind of buried on that depth chart. I'm more like the lower tier, not the Breece Hall, Derrick Henrys, Alvin Kamara's, but they do need a body there at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'd imagine Terrell gets elevated though again this week.
I mean, you need 3 on the game day roster for now, but they got to Jeremy Springer kind of let it slip today. They view him mainly as a special teams player. So
so they do have a spot on the active roster, so something's going to have to go there. At running back, and hopefully they can get that run game going. So Drake played this defense last year, had 3 turnovers, 4 turnover-worthy plays, same defensive coordinator, same kind of exotic pressures, a lot of zone coverage. Is that the key? Just don't turn the football over for Drake this week?
Yeah. Oh, well, if the run game doesn't get going, he's going to need to do more than that too. Yeah. But it's always the key. Don't turn the ball over. He's been much better about it. Keep that up and, keep spreading the ball out. I think it's an underrated thing that he's been doing well. Like Justin Herbert, for an example, because that was a comp. And look, Justin Herbert obviously made it work because he's a tremendous player, but what did he target Keenan Allen like 130 times his rookie year or something like that? It was,
I think so. Something crazy.
Insanely high. And late in the year, teams just kind of started to sit on Keenan Allen, and they knew that was his guy. I think he certainly has his guys more than others, but nobody's on pace for 130 targets. Like he clearly likes throwing at Diggs, clearly likes throwing at Kayshon Boutte, but it's been a pretty balanced attack, and that's that can be a strength. Like some people look at it and say, well, they don't have a real wide receiver 1, and I think Diggs might be there, but okay, fine. But like you can't scheme around any of these 1 wide receivers because he'll beat you throwing to somebody else. I think there's a game plan element to that, but keep spreading the ball around. We haven't talked about it a ton because he's just doing some other things that are more worth talking about. But I've really liked, Diggs was a high volume guy in Buffalo. Outside of that, these last few games, I don't know that there's one guy that's been, the high volume guy.
And credit to the receiver group for buying into that, right? Because like we've seen Stephon Diggs in the past, have a say when he's not getting his targets. And that's a position that obviously wants the ball. They want to make plays, and they've kind of bought into this everybody eats mentality, or Stephon Diggs likes to say, eat what's on your plate. Don't go looking elsewhere. Like eat what you're given. And they've really bought into that. Vrabel's talked about it. McDaniels has talked about it. Todd Downing, who's done a really good job with that group, has talked about it. So that's a good way to play if you can kind of spread the ball around like that, and it's worked for them so far. So credit to that group for buying into that mentality, and it's been working. So anything else offensive side of the football you're looking at?
I want to see Pop Douglas build on last week. I've said this a lot. I think the offense is better when he's a part of it. He should have had over 100 yards last week. And I think that's a better role for him. Like him running the 7-yard in cut does nothing for me. You have guys that can run that route better. They threw him bubble screens and they threw him deep balls. You throw him the ball behind the line of scrimmage or 20 plus yards downfield. That's how I want to see them use him. They used him like that last week. What do you know? It worked. Yeah, I hope last week wasn't a flash in the pan because, again, I think you see what he does in the open field. Like you saw it on both of those touchdowns, how hard he is to tackle when it's one-on-one, even against a defensive back. Find ways to get him the ball in open space, even if it's downfield, because he's different in that skill set. There's not a lot of guys, forget on the team in the league that are as elusive as he is. So hopefully last week was not an anomaly and he continues to build that way.
So I went back and looked the other night, all Pop Douglas's like deep targets in his career and watched them. That might have been the most chaotic set of plays, Barth, because think about it. They had big plays like the Saints touchdown. He had the Cowboys touchdown, or not the touchdown, the big play where like he broke the guy's ankles on a broken play. He had the touchdown against the Chargers last year, which was like a free play. Remember when he like dove back and adjusted to the ball? So there are a lot of big plays. His first catch in against the Eagles back his rookie year was a big play. And then you just have like miscommunications. You have absolute chaos, like the play against the Rams last year that ended the game was an interception. And then you just have, or the Bailey Zappi 2-minute drill in Germany was a deep target to Pop Douglas. And then you just have like horrible quarterback play by Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones, and Jacoby Brissett, just absolutely sailing passes over or underthrowing passes to an open Pop Douglas downfield. So he's open downfield on a lot of these, and you see a lot of big plays. So I agree. But it was funny going back to watch those because it was just pure chaos on most of the time. And not a lot of that had to do with him. Again, a lot of bad quarterback play in there. So now you have a quarterback who can get him the football. So maybe let him run downfield, and you'll see more of those big plays. So I'm with you there. And then Kyle Williams, do you think this is the week? Cole said he'd rather see Pop 80-yard game or Kyle Williams, multiple catches, long bomb. Do you think this is the week for Kyle Williams? It feels like
they keep trying. Like, we're getting there sooner rather than later. It feels like
it's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see with Kyle Williams. But that's the offense against this Titans defense. Before we get to our prize picks lineup, just anything special teams wise you're looking for? Do you think we're going to get the Chiz back there again returning, or what do you think is going to go on in that return game?
I mean, probably. They haven't brought anybody else in. Johnny Hecker still hanging around. He's Titans punter, so that's a name to know. Rookie punt and kick returner for the Titans, so maybe something you take advantage of there. Not much. Been smooth sailing for special teams the last couple of weeks. Just keep that up.
Yeah. They gave up a return last year, right? Wasn't the Titans one of the ones they gave up a return touchdown?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
I think so. So, yeah. Springer talked about that today, like one play. That's special teams. One play can swing the difference. So don't give up any big returns and, give this 1-5 football team some life. So just keep taking care of business. Andy Borregales has been good of late. Just keep taking care of business and keep this positive momentum on special teams. But all right, let's wrap up the preview with our prize picks lineup here. Anyone you're looking for right off the bat? Drake, one of these receivers, one of the backs. I think we'll get the run going.
We should probably do a Drake one, right? Let's start there.
Let's get to Drake May. 22.5 rush yards. He had a lot of scrambles against them last year. 263.5 total yards.
Oh, total, not passing? Yeah, more on that.
More than 263.5 total? Okay. We'll throw that in there.
We think that they get Cam Ward to throw a pick. He's thrown 6 picks in 6 games this year, but I think they're not. I think he has a couple interceptionless games. He has a couple games with multiple.
I could see that. Why does Cam Ward not show up on this? Do they not have Titan? It's Cameron Ward. My fault. If you're going on prospects, remember it's Cameron Ward.
Yep. He's thrown he has 4 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but he's thrown 1 pick in each of the last 4 games.
So the only interception thing they have is more than 1.5 interceptions, and it is a demon. So it's the extra bonus. Do you think they could get him twice?
Yeah, why the hell not?
Let's go for it.
Yeah. They're due. They haven't. When was their last interception? Oh, they had the one against the Bills at the end of the game. Marcus Jones.
True. Marcus Jones. They don't have many this year. Only 2?
No, before that, did they have, what was their turnover in the Steelers game? Was that a pick or was that a fumble recovery?
That's a good question. Let
Well, they only have 4 picks either way, and their last one before the Bills game is at least week 3, if not week 2.
I don't even remember their turnovers.
No, they picked off Rodgers. Okay, they picked off Rodgers.
Who got it? Can you see?
Yeah, hang on, I'm trying to find it. It was Robert Spillane.
Oh yeah, right out of the half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
right.
they have
so the dam breaks. Turnovers come in bunches, as they say.
Yeah.
So here we go. So the backs, if you have some hope in the run game, Ramondre is 44.5 rush yards, or Travion Henderson is 33.5 rush yards. Also 14.5 receiving yards for Henderson.
Maybe. I'd say the receiving one, if we're going to go with any of that. I don't know what to feel about the run game right now.
Want to go more receiving? I could see that.
Sure.
That's one catch, one screen for Travion.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll throw that in there. Any receivers? Steph Diggs, Hunter Henry, Kayshon Boutte, back-to-back games.
It's been a minute since Hunter Henry's had a big game. The receivers are getting going. Maybe he pops back in this game.
3.5 receptions, 37.5 receiving yards, or a touchdown is a demon.
You know what? If Jeffrey Simmons is getting after him, he's kind of the guy they throw to against the blitz sometimes. Maybe more than 3.5 catches.
3.5 catches. All right.
Yeah.
We'll put that one in there. Let's get another Titans player in here.
I was going to say, do they have Simmons?
Probably not. Tony Pollard, just as I go through these, is 43.5 rush yards. I don't see Jeffrey Simmons yet. Johnny Hecker, 4.5 punts, more or less.
More.
Okay. Johnny Hecker, more. All right, so that's 5. Do we have a sicko pick for
Yes.
people?
The Dolphins are playing the Browns in what is supposed to be a driving rainstorm with 50-mile-an-hour gusts. Mike McDaniel, not good. Tua, not good when it is not ideal conditions. Yes, the Browns suck. If this was an over 500 team, it would be the most clear blowout in the history of blowouts. But that being said, what do we got for Tua? Give me less. Give me less on whatever for Tua.
202.5 total yards.
Less.
Okay. There we go. So we got Cam Ward, more than 1.5 interceptions. Drake May, more than 263.5 total yards. Going to Hunter Henry, more than 3.5 receptions. And Travion Henderson, more than 14.5 receiving yards. Johnny Hecker, Titans punter, more than 4.5 punts. And Tua Tagovailoa in that rainstorm, less than 202.5 total yards. We get our usual multiplier. Oh, this one's even better, actually. If we go 6 for 6, a 70-time multiplier.
Oh, yeah,
let's
go.
So if you new users, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you want to play that $5 on this lineup, and we go 6 for 6, $350 in winnings. And then if you want to play that 50 as well, $3,500 in winnings right there. So a great payout. We'll put that out, as always, before the games on Sunday if you guys want to play along with us. And remember, new users on Prize Picks, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. 6 for 6. Let's go. 70-time multiplier this week. Should be a big one. Barth, last thing before I let you go. College football, who's getting the Penn State job with Kurt Cignetti staying in Indiana and James Franklin? I don't think we've been on. No, they fired James Franklin in the middle of the game Sunday, so we didn't talk about it Monday, but James Franklin out at Penn State. Kirk Cignetti was the big one, re-ups in Indiana. Who do you think's getting that job?
That's a good question. I know a lot of people are going Matt Rule. Doesn't that feel too obvious? Like this is Penn State a better job than Nebraska right now?
I don't know. Like, you can have resources at Nebraska, and they could make the playoffs still this year. So if that, I don't know why Matt Rule would want to leave unless the salary is that big of a difference.
Well, so I think he went to Penn State, I think.
Oh, he did? Okay, that changes things then. I could see that.
After him, Fran Brown maybe at Syracuse. Do they call John Gruden? I feel like if Gruden gets back. I don't think he's leaving BC. I feel like if Gruden goes back, he's going to college, not going to the pros. they might have to. We were talking about this earlier. Do they get a big name who gets fired and try to turn that around? Right, like we had mentioned, Billy Napier, or if Frank Norvell, if why am I blanking on his first name? Norvell down at Florida State.
Mike.
Yeah, if Mike Norvell gets the axe, because what is he, 0 for his last 8 conference games?
Something absurd like that.
You know, somebody like that, maybe. But I think that job's going to be sneaky hard to fill. I do.
Okay. Yeah, I bet it would probably be someone who gets fired.
You losing any sleep over Josh McDaniels potentially going?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's going to be here. I just pulled up the slate for this weekend, and North Carolina was like the first game that popped up, and it just popped up in my mind. Matt Patricia, Penn State.
Ooh. I mean, you know what? I don't hate that.
He's doing a good job in that Ohio State defense.
Is Ohio State going to take a first-time college head coach?
That's
like
fair.
That would be the question. And that's nothing against Matt Patricia. Especially in the era where recruiting is as important as ever. You know, do they trust him to recruit and build the roster? Because they need help there. They need a lot of help. If they trust him in that regard, you know, I think he fits the identity of a Penn State head coach.
Yeah.
You got, I tweet. Has anybody else put that out, Brian? You might want to be first to that. I thought you were going to say Bill.
No, I literally just, I pulled up the slate for this weekend, and North Carolina was one of the first, because they played Friday. And then I was like, oh, Patricia. Like, that would be interesting if he gets a college head coaching job with what he's done with this Ohio State defense. So, I don't know. That could be kind of an interesting one.
So, I am not seeing anybody talking about Matt Patricia and Penn State.
I'll have to maybe tweet that out so my name's on it outside of this pod.
I'm even seeing him to the Bengals, but not to Penn State.
The Bengals. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, as soon as we get off here, you gotta stake your claim on that.
All right. But any takes for this weekend? Anything you're looking at?
Here, remind myself of the slate here real quick. I'll be honest. It's like, I don't want to say I'm not following it as much, but when we were doing the draft so intently so early, it became part of the job. And now it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually covering the Patriots.
Yeah.
You know, LSU Vanderbilt is an interesting game. I don't know about you. I'm still I don't know what to make of Vanderbilt. They're a really fun team. Are they a true playoff contender? I feel like they're right on the line. Georgia, Ole Miss, you know, Ole Miss going into Georgia, it's a real test for Lane Kiffin. There's one other game this week that was really fun. What was it?
Tennessee,
Alabama will be good. Always a good game. But if you want to stay up late on Saturday night later, it's an 8:00 kick. Utah at BYU, Holy War. 2 really physical football teams that know each other well. That's always a good rivalry matchup. Both teams are ranked this year. I think that could be a really fun game.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Indiana-Oregon game last weekend? Mendoza, man, baby, a good game.
Mendoza going in there, winning that. Signetti having that team good. Like, he earned that extension. Don't get me wrong. He earned that. Like, that's not nothing. Really impressed. I still think Oregon is the best team in the country. I still think Dan Lanning is the best coach in the country. Makes that win all the more impressive.
Yeah. I think Indiana's pretty legit, though. I don't know if they would
I think Oregon. They are, which it just feels ridiculous to say.
I know. It is crazy.
It is not out of the realm of possibility, Brian, that we get an Indiana-Virginia college football playoff matchup. Like, 2 of the bluest college basketball blue bloods in the college football playoff would be hilarious.
I mean, I think we're setting up for Indiana Ohio State Big Ten championship.
Right.
They should both be undefeated, which would be an awesome game. Like,
I still think Ohio State would win that.
Yeah, me too.
But again, if you knock them back, so Virginia, where's Virginia right now? They're 18, and this is the AP. We're not getting the college football playoff for a couple of weeks, but like, look at Virginia's schedule. Because I like this Virginia team, man. They're scrappy, and I mean, they'll probably lose to Miami in the ACC championship, but they got Washington State this week. Washington State has not been good. Then they go to UNC, which
they haven't been good.
And why am I blanking on the quarterback's name? Like Bill told him no, or I should say,
the Virginia quarterback.
Yeah,
Morris.
Yeah, Chandler Morris. Mike Lombardi told him no. At Cal, November 1st, a tough game. But then Wake Forest, Duke, Virginia Tech to close it out. Like Cal's their toughest game left. So, Georgia Tech's going to be a factor. They may get lucky and dodge the ACC championship. And if it's Miami, Georgia Tech in the ACC championship, right? And then does Virginia sneak in as like a 10 or 11 seed if they keep rolling? So, I say all this, I jinx them to lose, but like Indiana and Virginia, the basketball blue bloods coming out in college football is a fun story to me.
Yeah. I know. I still can't wrap my head that Indiana is like,
I know, it just feels weird.
One
more fun one too is Texas Tech being good is awesome because that's a great fan base that's been dormant for a little too long. Look up Texas Tech pocket knife if you want to see the shenanigans going on down there this week. They got, Arizona State, who I thought would be a good team coming into the year. They've been this week. And then they kind of cruise to the end. They got BYU at home, but Texas Tech to me is like I don't know are they a dark horse national championship contender or are they just a national championship contender? I know they got some injuries to the quarterback position, but they got some dogs over there.
They might just be a dark horse because they're Texas Tech.
Yeah.
We got to talk to Mike Smith about them sometime. Mike Smith,
yeah, that's a good point.
Texas Tech. Cole asked, do you believe in any SEC teams? I mean, I think Bama's back to being the best SEC team, especially the way Simpson's been playing. But I still like the whole DeBoer thing. I just don't know.
This feels like the team that gets on the verge of being back, and then the rug gets ripped out of you. Like they'll win out and then lose the Iron Bowl. Like this just feels like that team. If Mateer was fully healthy, he was not fully healthy last week. And I don't know that he'll get fully healthy. If Mateer was fully healthy, you could talk me into believing in Oklahoma. I don't know, maybe LSU. Like as far as bad losses go, that's a good Ole Miss team. You were on the road. If they like blow doors against Vanderbilt this week, I might believe in LSU. As I don't like Brian Kelly.
You what?
What?
What'd you say at the end there? I missed what you said.
I don't like Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
If LSU gives me convincing win against Vanderbilt this week, I'll be like, all right. Yeah, they're
fine. We'll tolerate Brian Kelly again. No one likes Brian Kelly. That's the other.
Parody's just amazing.
Coach O, Penn State.
Coach O, Penn State. Need it.
That would be
go
fun.
Lions.
Go Lions. Yeah. All right. There's your college football slate. Should be a good one. Some good games on the radar this weekend. So. We'll wrap it up there. Make sure you guys are locked on to Patriots Press Pass. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you know when we're going to go live. We'll be back as always early next week to break down the Patriots at Titans and Mike Vrabel's return to Tennessee there on Sunday. And if you are listening on audio only, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else, please subscribe there. You can also follow Barth on Twitter at RealAlexBarth. Head over to 985thesportshub.com for his Patriots coverage there, and you can follow me on Twitter at I am Brian Hines, and head over to patspulpit.com for our Patriots coverage online there as well. Thanks to everyone for jumping on with us tonight. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the football, and we will see you guys back next week.